Although when Marquez crashed, I did jump up and yell.
Really?
Actually, you were kind of sad, man, because he's not who you wanted to crash.
Well, I'll be honest. I was sad all the crashers because Marquez would have beat Jorge, and Cal probably would have too. I was kind of bummed that there wasn't more space between.
Yeah, I think your boy Miller ruined the race.
I think Cal had a shot at a podium that race.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially if Marquez had crashed out later.
You guys are forgetting one point. He would have still crashed out on his own, okay?
That's true. He does do that.
I actually looked it up before starting the whole thing. There are only 2 riders that have retired from more races than Marquez. Guess who they are?
Carroll Abraham and Cal Crutchlow.
You were right about Cal, but you're not right about Carl.
It's Carl.
It's Carl.
Technically, he hasn't finished a race, I don't think, this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Aleix, maybe?
Nope, not Aleix.
No, he's only missed a few.
Is it Miller?
It's totally Jack Miller.
Right. It is, yeah. No, Carroll. I thought Carroll was
the LCR squad then.
The whole LCR squad. Jack Miller has crashed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
That's rough.
That's
bad.
He's actually.
It's just too big of a jump, dude. It's just too big. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just too much.
And then he gets the pressure to actually perform.
Right, because I thought the whole point of him having a 3-year contract was not to be pressure. Then Nakamoto comes out and is like, he's not performing to expectations. I'm like, then why'd you give him a 3-year contract? I mean, that was the point.
Well, because it's fucking Nakamoto. He does the same thing to everyone.
Right.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was really stupid. I agree.
Yeah.
And Nicky Hayden finally has more points than Michele Pirro.
That is so dumb.
Dude, he's tied with Jack. He's tied with Miller now after that amazing rain ride.
Right.
Yeah. They both have
That's
12.
bad.
They both have 12.
Nicky
points.
only has 3 scoring positions the whole fucking thing. Jesus.
Yep. Well, Jack has 4, even though he's retired more races than anyone.
That's outrageous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep. And Cal's crashed 5 times. And a few people have crashed 4 to match Marquez.
Yeah, Carl just hasn't started hella races too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he missed 4 races. So
Right.
So we'll assume that he would have crashed at least 1 or 2 of those.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Or DNF. You know, the funny thing is it's not really that funny. I think his first few races they were all mechanical problems. His team or the bike or something just wasn't working right.
Right.
And,
yeah, I
a lot of
mean,
them were
everyone on the open software this year, they were kind of just thrown into the deep end, and they just, the rider doesn't feel comfortable at all, so they just pull into the pits. It's pretty shitty.
Not Hector Barbara, dude. He's only got 1 DNF in the on open software.
Yeah, it's because fucking Ducati's doing it.
No. Carroll goes deeper. He had rear sets that like the linkage was falling out and the shift rod wasn't connected, so he had to pull in and DNF. And then there was another one where his like brake caliper or his master cylinder or something failed, something stupid. I mean, it was all like stuff that at that level, the amount of money you're spending should never be overlooked or not up to par, right?
You mean like a visor fogging up?
That. Oh my God! Wait, I gotta ask: Are we recording already?
All right, everybody, BrotoGP is back. I know it's been a long summer and way more than summer break for us, but we are finally recording again. This is episode 16 of the BrotoGP podcast. Hopefully we didn't lose too many listeners because of this. But thankfully, we got the whole crew here today. Dennis has graced us with his presence once again, even though I think he's falling asleep. Kevin's here as always, and we got... There we go. And we got Everett on the phone too. So he's driving right now, but he'll be home soon to partake in the fun.
Ride or die. Ride or die.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so given Rossi's performance at the last round in Silverstone, this is kind of a drunk episode. So Dennis has got the whiskey and he's falling asleep. My whiskey sour is almost gone. And
just chilling.
Just what? Just what?
Just chilling. That's all I'm doing. I'm just chilling.
Yeah, there you
Nice.
go. And Kevin's opened the bottle of wine, and Everett will join us soon too. You know, driving it all.
I've got a crazy bottle of Pellegrino going.
Nice.
Right.
I'm drinking some wine and some cheese and going full Zarko. I mean, Dirty Frenchman.
But all right, we got a lot to talk about. So straight to Silverstone, right? Not even going to talk
Yeah,
about.
because the other races didn't happen.
Yeah, so I mean, we know Indianapolis and the Czech Republic were kind of the same race, just someone different won, right? Like it was a battle at the front between Jorge and Marquez, and in the first one, Marquez kind of saved some tire, passed him with a few laps to go, and pulled away. Not at all. At Bruno, it was pretty much the opposite. Jorge stayed out in front and just put in a relenting pace and eventually pulled away from Marquez when he kind of realized that he could not win. Do we need to say anything more?
And Rossi somehow managed to make his podium streak continue.
Yeah, so a double third place by Rossi. Of course, Kevin was going to bring that one up.
I do want to touch on Bruno only because I thought it was a real letdown how much buildup there was for that race and how anticlimactic it was. It was just really a letdown. It was supposed to be the race, the riders' race, and it fucking sucked.
Right, like practice made you think it was going to be a straight barn burner, right? Like Marquez is back, Rossi and Jorge fighting for the title. It's just going to be all out, and it was so fucking boring.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like every race where Jorge just leads from the off tends to finish that way. You know, like there was definitely a lot going on in qualifying and practice and stuff, and I mean, it really seemed like it was going to be good, but just it was the same players once again. So I don't know. The other part of the race was pretty good. Like Rossi wasn't in third the whole time. Like Iannone got fourth. So Dovi, didn't have a shitty race once again and finished sixth place. Like that was all going pretty good for him. But
I thought the highlight was watching Pedrosa come through the field, and then he kind of ran out of steam, and then after the injury from his crash or whatever. But I think to your point that the hot topic should be Lorenzo, because everyone downplays his ability to be dominant at the front like that, and it's boring as hell. But why can he do it in those races? And I think it's really another topic to maybe hit on, maybe now or maybe later. But his strategy, I think the guy really overthinks his strategy on racing, and somehow when the stars and moons align, or maybe he just chooses to go hard and win by a country mile. But it's really this Jekyll and Hyde you see from a guy that's insanely talented, and then you get to Silverstone and you go, just because it rained a little, you can't even be in the top 5. Like,
oh, so you're channeling Ernie now, right? Like,
but it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Like, and everyone knows it. Like I wonder if he knows it. Like the constant joke was, let's hope it rains. 30% chance of rain, 50% chance of rain. Because if it rains, Jorge will suck. He's a 2-time world champion, and he's won multiple races in the rain. Yet we all just knew that if it rained, he would not do well. He would have some weird excuse, like forgetting his breath guard, or it's foggy, or it's just so weird.
But is it maybe more to his strategy to that point? And this is what I'm bringing up is, does Lorenzo have some kind of a coach or strategizer? Does his team operate in a way in which they say, look, rain races, there's only like 2 a year. We've got the analytics behind it that says the rain races don't ever accumulate to actually producing the champion. There's more risk than there is reward. Just cruise around and get fit. It's not even that big of a deal. You stand a higher chance that you'll crash out than you'll win, or you just need to be close enough. And I mean, in the end, you kind of saw a bunch of people did crash out, right? So
Yeah, but I mean,
it makes me wonder if he thinks it.
we say it doesn't affect the championship until your main rival pulls out 12 points. You know, like this was actually a pretty big swing because he wasn't on the box once again.
So that's my point, right? So
Yeah.
so what do you get? You know, so let's refresh and let's talk about the point system, right? So you get a win versus second is a 5 points, right? It's, what is it, 25 and then 20?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. -5, -4, -3, -2, -1 is what it is.
So maybe he and his team basically said, look, Rossi's due for a bad race or a DNF. Just play that hope that you're just gonna out consistently finish than he will for DNF for whatever the reason, crash, mechanical, right? I mean, I wonder if they actually think about this and they say, look,
The only thing I can think is he's been refining this metronomic, smooth as hell, just punishing pace at the front for years now, right? I mean, this is basically been refining this since he was battling Stoner. And, that's the way he can win. And I just wonder if after 4 years of really refining this style, he just simply can't win in the rain in comparison because he spent so long perfecting his bike, his setup, his style, and his game plan to have this incredible lean angle, buttery smooth, minute throttle control. He just basically has just said, you know what, I'm going to win 5 to 6 races, and that's going to sacrifice me the one rain race we have, and it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, there's the confidence in the front end is not exactly something that you get in the rain.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. But I have a feeling though that he kind of expected to podium because it seemed like, well, not only was he very disappointed that his visor fogged, but it seemed like, he fell back behind he fell back to like 6th or 7th at some point, right? And
right.
He kind of fought his way back through. And it seemed like he found a little bit of confidence that we know that he requires to actually go fast. And he was actually stopped by the visor fogging.
Well, let's be real here. I don't think
we don't know that's what it was. That's what he alleges it was.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
But let's be real.
No one will ever know.
If he's on the podium, if fucking Daniele Petrucci does not show up like a boss, right? I mean, me and Everett were texting actually that if you take Petrucci's performance out of the race, it was not an aberration race at all. Jack Miller and Cal crashed. Elation and Maverick got top 10s. Rossi won. Marquez crashed out. It's actually pretty prototypical for the season, except for the fucking goofy-ass policeman who rides MotoGP in his fucking spare time shows up what the fuck?
Yeah,
he throws it down, right? I mean, he gives no fucks, and he goes for it, and it pays off. But to that point, and I mean, they even said it on the commentator. I forget which one of them said it. They were like, yeah, this is the old bike that Cal had that was really good in the wet. So, maybe there was that slight upper hand over Dovey or something. But even Dovey was like, I'm not willing to throw it down and risk it for the podium because this is good enough for me. But
I think Dovey actually said he thought Petrucci was going to crash in every single corner.
Yeah, every braking zone.
Every single braking zone, Petrucci's going to crash. And I remember Petrucci actually said he thought he must be doing something wrong because he's catching Rossi so fast. He's actually second guessing himself. How am I going this fast?
Well, I mean, I just want to call this out. And I mean, I raced AFM for years, nothing at any super high level or anything, but I've been around enough, and there is generally a significant difference between a factory setup and even the suspension, right? And so for Dovey to make that statement, he's probably thinking in his head, I'm on a factory bike with factory suspension, with factory technicians for that suspension. I'm going to be completely dialed in and have as best confidence as you can have in a front end, even in the rain. And this guy is even pushing it further. And so it was one of those, it's like, it's back when when Stoner had the Ducati, he was always overriding the bike, and he just had blind faith that it was going to work. And there was always that off chance that he just lose the front. That's what Dobie was expecting, is that blind luck to run out at some point, because he was doing it every turn. But, and that makes you wonder, right? The Ducati's always had that problem with the front end. It clearly can be pushed further than those guys feel that it can. That's what's the confidence and the feel that it provides.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's great that you bring up confidence because that I feel like that's the one thing that Denyu got from the fact that he was still on the 14.2 is pretty much everyone knows that bike is good in the rain. And he's a previous motocrosser. He's got a lot of experience in adverse conditions. And so he's just good in the rain. So you put those two together and you get exactly what happened. So
right, it was sort of like Qatar, man. At this time, like when Qatar happened, I was like, any of these assholes can win, I'm going to freak out, right? Either Andrea or Rossi wins, I'm fucking literally jizzing all over my monitor. Silverstone, I knew Rossi needed to win because of Lorenzo, but like part of me was fucking freaking out when he was catching Rossi like a second a lap. I'm like, fucking Petrucci's going to win on a Pramac Ducati from last year. Like, he's going to win. I was literally – it's the first time in forever where I was just standing up in the room by myself watching the race. Like, I couldn't sit down.
The best part is I'm a complete 180 from you, hoping that Rossi would lose and that Petrucci would win.
Well, no, I wasn't hoping that – I wasn't – like, if Petrucci would have won, I would have fucking flipped, right? It would have been so fucking badass. I mean, I wanted Rossi to win, but I'm just like, I don't even know. Dobie's following him. Maybe he's going to crash, and Dobie's going to get pulled into the lead. Like, who am I rooting for right now? You know what I mean? All I know is I knew that Everett was rooting for a satellite guy to win, though.
Dude, it hasn't happened since 2006.
Because Everett hates – for all you listeners out there, Everett hates factory riders.
All of them?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, all of them.
Probably pretty. Maybe not the Suzukis because they're not technically factory, but not really.
Yeah, they're still factory too.
I just hate the politics of it all, so it kind of chafes me. But yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened since 2006. I kind of was sitting there watching it, like essentially just in denial of like, there's no way this is fucking happening. There's no way this is happening.
Right.
No.
And that catapulted him too, man, because Petrucci, he has scored points in every race. He's ahead of Pole, of Cal. He's so far ahead of Scott Redding, it's not even funny. Like,
wait. Scott Redding had a good race. How did that happen?
No, I'm talking about in points in the season.
No, I know.
Petrucci's season is good.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, when you finish around the top 10, like it kind of keeps you there. But yeah, now he's ahead of Pole Espargaro, which is awesome.
Right.
It's great that second place nets you so many
I'm a Pole
points.
hater.
You're a Pole hater?
That kid needs to go somewhere else. Yeah.
I agree, man. I'm over Pole, dude.
Who did I make the bet with last year that he wouldn't get a podium? And they're like, oh, I'll take that bet.
Yeah, it was me, and I lost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was you. That's right.
Yeah, and Phillip Island, I was like, how the hell did you do that? Like, he was in position at Phillip Island, and he just tucked the front at the bottom of the hill. It was terrible, and then Bradley got it.
He's so overrated. They oogle these Spanish riders way prematurely until they've been proven. That's what's tragic.
I feel like if he was on the Honda, he would be if he was on a satellite Honda, he would be destroying all the other satellite riders. Or he'd at least fight Bradley.
And
again, no. Because there was no podcast for like a month, me and Everett just fucking rocked it. They keep him because they're using him for Moto2 rider style data to refine that bike. I actually think that Pole is a Yamaha rider for development, so they can get a good Moto2 rider to be on the bike. You know, when Rossi, Lorenzo, Smith, whatever move on, like they don't actually expect him to do well at this point. He's just a data gatherer.
No,
he's a world champion who's never even sniffed a podium in MotoGP. I mean, fuck you.
No, I don't disagree, but the root cause is the fact that he is still riding the bike like a Moto2 bike. Like, it took Bradley Smith 3 years to calm the fuck down and learn to ride the M1 like the M1 is supposed to be ridden.
Wait a second. The Yamaha and Kev, back me up on this. The Yamaha is proving to be the more versatile, adaptable machine, especially on the Tech 3 team. And anyone that goes anywhere else except factory Honda generally has that they decrease in their level of performance, right? They go down in podiums. you're on Tech 3 or Cal, you're killing it. I mean, let's look at Crutchlow. Great example. Was Tech 3, then he went elsewhere, and his performance has gone significantly down.
But what did he say when he went to Ducati? He said, I'm not going to relearn how to ride the bike because I worked so hard at Tech 3 to ride a certain way.
Right, but he did better at Ducati than he's doing on the bike now.
Yeah, well, he has
agree.
a shit bike now. I mean, he went from a factory bike with no support to, or with support to the LCR.
But he went from. Remember, his situation was, it turns out, Andre Iannone actually had like the real factory bike and was getting the actual upgrades. Like Cal was kind of Ducati's stepchild.
Yeah,
he was not a factory rider in the same sense that Dovizioso was.
Anymore. Like he said, I'm done.
Well, they figured out he wasn't really trying.
Yeah.
And so they stopped giving him support.
And then
so let's keep that in mind. A guy who wasn't trying and not getting support did better than on the bike where he's trying and getting support.
So you think he's getting support at LCR?
Standard MotoGP.
No, but so I don't think that has. I don't think any of that actually supports the idea that the M1 is versatile because.
By the way, I finished half this bottle already. I think I'm gonna be fucked up in a little bit.
Perfect. I don't think any of that supports the fact that the M1 is versatile. I think you still need to ride the bike as smooth as possible, and you can't fight the thing. The last time that Pole was allowed to fight the bike was, I think, Le Mans last year, and he got 4th. And then ever since then, like later in that season, he was pretty much told like, hey, no, we're going to bring you back to the GP setup. You can't have the Moto2 style setup anymore. And his results have just gone downhill. Like Bradley is great support for the fact that you've got to ride the bike as smooth as possible. Otherwise you lose. Because
you got to ride the bike as smooth as his forehead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, because that's what he's been saying. He said a lot this year that he's essentially kind of given, like he stopped trying to be his own rider, and he's now trying to, instead of molding the bike to him, he's now trying to mold himself to the bike, and we see that it's working. I mean, he doesn't have, his results could be a little bit better, maybe a few steps up and maybe an occasional podium, but he's still, he's the next best rider outside of the factory Yamahas, the factory Hondas, and the factory Ducatis. And that's kind of what you want to expect from a guy that, I mean, did he win in Moto2? He had no, Bradley.
No, he never won a race. Bradley he had a string of podiums, and that's when they signed him to that crazy contract. Yeah, he scored like 3 seconds in a row in like 2011 or 12, and they signed him to that crazy contract. You know what I mean? And but he never actually won a race. Fucking Mr. Fucking
you know what I'm thinking? I'm remembering that he won in 125 because I know he won at least once.
He's got 3 in 125s. The string
that's what it was. Yeah.
I'm talking about is 2011. Then he did really shitty in 2012 because it's the Tech 3 bike. It's who knows what the development status was. And then he moved to GP in 2013.
But you know what? And this plays into Everett's fucking conspiracy theories, right? Because think about that. Petrucci's never won shit in a GP championship. But fucking Smith has never won shit in a GP championship. Yet there they are actually doing pretty well. Did they not win stuff because they didn't have the support? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, Petrucci was a Super Stock 1000 champion. Like, where does that come from? Like, who was the Australian guy that was in GP for a little while that was essentially the same deal? What was his name?
Bayless?
No, the guy.
Man, you are drunk.
The guy that rode the CRT bike. No.
Oh, fucking, the fucking, what's his name? He rode the Aprilia.
Brian Starring.
Starring, yeah, there you go.
No, Brian Starring.
There was another one. There was another one too. But yeah, like essentially nothing championships, right? Like not even top level superbike or anything. And they come into GP, they don't do anything. But here we have Petrucci on the satellite bike, he fucking podiumed.
Which, by the way, I told you guys at the New Assholes at the beginning of the year, he was the guy to watch out. Remember, he was my dark horse pick.
Yeah, that's right. In like episode 3 or 4 or something.
Right.
Oh my God! If he had won as the first Ducati win for like the year, like we both would have
on the old Ducati at that.
Yeah, right. Even though I'm not sure if we said that rain races counted.
By the way, that's 3 fucking people that have podiumed on Ducati this year, and that's the 5th podium for Dovizioso, dude. Like the reports of his demise were a bit premature.
Yeah, so how do you feel about that? I mean, he had his mechanical woes, which, like, the subframe broke. He chunked a sprocket somehow.
Cheater motor.
Yeah, cheater motor, right? 295 horsepower, chunked a sprocket.
Right.
But so what? Do you think he's back? Do you think it was just because of the rain? Like, he did have his.
I don't think he left, dude.
qualifying.
Even the race. I don't think he left. Even at Brno, when he got 6th, he got fucked up at the start, and he carved his way back to 6th. Dovizioso is a pimp, dude. He's the best rider outside of the top 4, and I actually think he is surpassing Pedrosa right now. Like, Andrea Dovizioso is the 4th best rider in the fucking world.
They have the same number of non-finishes, just because Danny missed 3 races and Dovi has crashed 3 times, and yeah, Dovi's ahead by 18 points.
Dovi's got 5 podiums, 3 seconds and 2 thirds.
Yeah,
I mean, he's having a really good season. I know, we kind of hoped that he did those DNFs he had there, and kind of that quick run of problems was a little rough, but it's not like the bike's gotten worse. It's still a brand new bike at tracks they don't have a lot of testing at. I mean, he got a legit third, and in a very Dovi aspect, like you said, he just knew he was third, and Petrucci was riding like a madman. Just bring it home and get third. You know what I mean? Like,
it was kind of the same ride as actually Bruno, though, right? Because he qualified really crappy. He actually, if you watch on the GP feed, he got the worst start on the planet. He got such a bad start that he pulled off to the side, like against the wall, and let everyone go by. And he was pretty much,
him?
yeah.
I couldn't figure out who that was.
Yeah, it looked like one of the Pramac bikes because the camera made it look a little more white, but they had an extra video on it. And it was Dovi.
That was Dovi.
Yeah, that was Dovi. So he essentially went into the first corner like second to last and still managed to pull through. So
I saw that and I couldn't figure out, and I didn't go back and look at who it was, but I saw someone basically pull all the way to the right to the wall, and you're like, what the hell happened? Did that guy get like almost like stall out the bike on the grid, and they just pulled over so they didn't get creamed?
Yeah, practically. No, he said
he
he just spun up. And the Ducati traction control did not work as well as it should have, apparently.
He basically went AFM noob style, accidentally left it neutral, and after he revved it on the start, he had to put his hand up and stand there till everyone drove by.
Wait, I thought that's the Marc Marquez Moto2 trick. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Gee, who'd have guessed that the Ducati software didn't work right?
I know, right? maybe he forgot to put it in rain mode, and it gave him.
Yeah, right. He was riding it. Yeah, and apparently you can't change that.
Yeah, but whatever.
For the record.
But yeah, so that's 2 races in a row where he's pretty much started the race in dead last and kind of carved his way through. And only because of the rain was he actually able to make it onto the podium. If it had been dry, he would have ended up in the same place as Brno. He would have ended up like 7th or 8th or whatever.
Right, but that if I had wheels, I'd be a wagon. It was raining.
Yeah.
The rain may have had to do why he had a bad start, but Dovi's a pimp in the rain. The Ducatis are decent in the rain, pretty much traditionally now, historically. That's a legit podium, man. I mean, the only thing that I think you can take away from this race, Jack Miller going full mullet Miller, and just, I mean, whoa, dude, whoa. Taking out Cal, because I think, I hate on Cal. I think Cal had a legit shot at a podium in this race.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said before that I thought Miller almost ruined that race. If it wasn't for Petrucci,
he was close to. He almost got Lorenzo.
He did almost get Lorenzo.
Almost got Lorenzo. If he didn't take out Crutchlow, he probably would have taken out Lorenzo.
Right, which would have been sweet.
Yeah, I'm with Kev on that one.
So happy.
I mean, that's the thing, though. This season could very well come down to someone else making a mistake. Neither Rossi nor Lorenzo. Did you see the onboard? Lorenzo got fucking blasted on the onboard. I can't remember who did it, but Paul.
It was Paul.
Who was that?
It was Paul.
Yeah, he got bumped hard, dude. That was in the rain. That was inches from just getting straight taken out. This season could very well be decided by an incident that has nothing to do with Rossi or Lorenzo.
Yeah, I mean,
that's exactly my point. That's what I think Lorenzo's banking on, is that his ability to win and get away and be out of the fray and some of that stuff, I think, is what he's banking on. He's like, I'm willing to take those chances that I'm going to be less likely to have that happen. So I'll take a 12-point deficit and play it safe to win the next 3 races and let you get taken out, and then it's over anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when you start eighth, like, you're gonna get Bautista eventually.
Right, that's the Rossi's problem. Is Lorenzo never has to deal with someone, and he starts great. So he only has to deal with the only crazy person he's got to deal with is fucking Marquez, who's crashed out like 4 races this year.
Who is taking himself out, which is nice.
Who's taking himself out. Yeah. But Rossi, he's putting him. This is just like Qatar in 2006 when he got taken out because of poor qualifying, and that probably lost him the title because he got 14th instead of finishing in top 5. This could, that could be Rossi's Achilles heel if someone decides to straight bump, if someone gets crazy or Miller goes Miller.
Is Miller the new Bautista? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, dude. You know what? I think Bautista's rep is undeserved. He's only got 1 DNF this year.
Yeah, no, but his takeouts have been pretty blatantly bad. That's generally the way he's got that.
Right, but it's been a while now, man. He's having a pretty respectable season on that Aprilia.
This year, yeah, but you easily forget the last 4 or 5 years where he was hiding around on a satellite bike taking guys out. Like,
well, was it his fault? I mean, we've seen how unsupported.
Yeah.
Just yes.
Yes.
You see how unsupported the satellite Honda is, and when he was on Showa and Nissan, like the guy, we've known that the guy, he crashes when he pushes too hard on shitty equipment. Like, he has.
So wait, did we just find a common theme here? Is that whoever's riding that satellite Honda, is it the LCR Honda that Miller's on now? Is it the same bike?
No, Crutchlow or Bautista was Grassini.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not that the Grassini.
Actually, he still is. He still is Grassini. Just a new bike, same team.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. My apologies. So yeah, as I say, maybe it's just a satellite Honda is always the culprit.
Well, that bike seems to be hard. It sounds like that bike is quite difficult to ride, and he's not really getting the support, a high-end support, because it's Honda and it's Repsol and all that crazy politics with the high-end sponsor. And, it's hard. That bike is hard to ride. I think Crutchlow was really surprised at how hard the bike that was to ride.
Yeah, I mean, that all relates back to what they've been saying pretty much all year, that the 2015 engine was too aggressive. The chassis.
But let's talk about Rossi.
Ooh.
Because I'm noticing that this wine I'm drinking is from Argentina, and he won that race with Marquez crashing out in second, and that happened again.
Nice segue, Kevin.
I have some rye whiskey now, so we're good to go.
We're good to go? All right, cool.
All right. Hey, Dennis, take this one. I'm going to go get some scotch.
Scotch.
Down into my belly.
No,
down into
what do you want to... Take it away, Kevin.
I'm here. What's up? Take it away. We talking about Rossi?
Yeah, are we going to start from the very start of the weekend, or are you just talking about that epic run during the Sunday race?
I just mean the race. This is the second time now that Lorenzo's closed the gap. First it was to 1 point, and he dropped out 13-point advantage on him. Then Lorenzo closes down to 0 and actually technically takes the lead via wins, and Rossi responds by extending double-digit points leads. I mean, no one seems to think he can do it, and even I'm like, oh, fuck, can he do this? Like, I'm like just gritting my teeth. But every time he's responded, he's never not led the championship since the first race, and the 2 times the pressure came from fucking Lorenzo, his teammate, the guy that fucking beat Stoner and beat Rossi for a title, and Rossi responds. Like, there's 6 races left, and Rossi hasn't shown a fucking chink in his armor.
I'm just every time something happens, or like it always happens after I'm going like Rossi better like win this race because I think if he doesn't, he's gonna lose the championship. And then he wins the goddamn race.
Right.
It's like
it's crazy. Like he has 2/3. Lorenzo closes the gap, and it's funny because what happens is he needs to respond to the pressure, and what happens? He wins, and Lorenzo's off the podium.
yeah, and it's 12 points now. Like
right. Like I was crazy. Like he has more wins and podiums than Nicky Hayden had in his championship winning year. Now.
That's like the third time you brought up two.
Well, just something for me to ask real quick is do you guys think? I mean, I know it's kind of like
you don't sound nearly drunk enough.
But do you
don't
think
sound
if
nearly
Marquez
drunk
hadn't
enough?
crashed out, would Rossi have still won if Marquez hadn't crashed out?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
oh yeah.
definitely.
Oh yeah.
No.
I've said this from the get-go. Marquez has never.
Question, but I think it's pretty unanimous.
Marquez has rode very few actual rain races. Like rain is falling, start to finish, declared wet. This is a rain race.
Yeah, Kev, but you got to look at the actual race. He was struggling to keep up with Rossi. He kept having to push, and it's the same thing. This is a question I was thinking about earlier too. Is you look at all of the riders. Generally, the guys on the Yamahas ride the front end. What I'm finding is the guys on the Hondas ride the rear end, right? It's
I love riding the rear end.
They ride the rear
been
end.
that way for a couple
Yeah. Jokes aside, I'm just saying, go label the bikes and how you
Who's
have to
joking?
ride them. And my point is that Marquez is the only guy that has the balls to ride that Honda the way he does, and it still lacks front end feel, which is why the rest of the guys can't ride it that fast. The Reddings, Carroll, Laverty, Hayden, that's the Honda's problem. Is just like the Ducatis now, is it doesn't have the front end feel those guys like, which has always been the plus of the Yamaha. And if you ask Rossi, you ask Lorenzo, you ask even the Tech 3 guys, they like the front end feel. And so
yeah, I mean
that's
the Honda
in the rain, that's paramount. If you don't have
Right, in the rain you have to feel planted, stable, and confident. And you saw Marquez trying to keep up with Rossi was just not going to happen. I think Rossi just knew it's raining. I'm going to win. I have to win.
You know, the awesome thing about what happened to Rossi is it was pretty much the second it rained for a warm up, it was a reset for the whole field, and he explicitly said that his team found the setup right away.
Just hit something that we need to touch on too, how everyone came in after the warm-up lap. And then they all came out of the hot pit and they're like, red flag, red flag, red flag. But did not one person take the risk and say, well, I'm going to try Reigns, and wait a second, time out. How's this fair to me? I picked Reigns.
No,
well, no one did, and that's the thing, man. It goes back to my joke about how Moto2 became all Kalex, right? No one wants to be the guy who makes that risk because it can backfire and you're fucked. Like, it's crazy to me that like Nicky Hayden didn't just try it. Like, fuck it. Like that one year he did that to him and Stoner did that to Ducatis.
You're always going to run around in 15th. Who cares?
Everyone pretty much said that when they went out for the siding lap, it was dry, it was slick weather for sure. And then they weren't getting very much rain on the grid. The rain was happening elsewhere on the track.
They have forecasts. They have freaking weather forecasts, and it's like torrential rain.
No one goes off a forecast because the second it doesn't, you get screwed.
I know. But it's an interesting topic, though, right?
Yeah.
Because you look at it, you look at this field of all this $1 million and multi-millions of dollars being spent, and you'd think any of the backmarker teams, I mean, anybody non-factory or Tech 3 that's kind of sniffing at podiums, where they really can't take the gamble because they got to conform to being a front runner, and they just kind of have to compete against those people, and they can't really roll the dice.
Right, like why didn't Aprilia just set?
Yeah.
Why didn't Aprilia just send Brattle and send one of their guys out on fucking whatever, right? Just give them the shot.
But it wouldn't have mattered.
You're not placing well anyway.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. It wouldn't have mattered, right? Because what's the rule? It's like 10 seconds after the field goes by the pit exit or something. So let's assume that the guy that actually starts the grid on Reigns on the grid gets a 15-second head start. if even like Alicia Spargaro would have only climbed like 3 positions and still would have barely been in the top 10. Like for all the guys,
it's your point. It's a good point. You'd only get a 30-second advantage, but for those
at most,
guys
at
taking
most,
that risk, it might be a top 10 now instead of a top 20.
yeah, well, like Mike DiMeglio could have gotten 15 seconds and he would have moved up 1 position. Like
Imagine if Petrucci had been the person to get that head start.
Right, he would win.
That's a good point.
He would have won.
He would have won.
He would have won. Right. Yeah. Well, that's the only leg I have to stand on with that. But
yeah, anyone north of that's actually the only one, right? Because all the other riders that finished within 15 seconds of the winner were factory and would have not done it. But yeah, that's what pretty much everyone said, was that if one person had have taken the risk and stayed out on the grid, then they would have not red flagged the race.
Nah, I think they still would have waved it off, dude.
I think they would have too.
In the end, Race Direction has ultimate authority. They can just overrule. Yeah. They just would have called it because that was insanity. Like, Bradley Smith almost dropped his bike trying to turn it around and shit. Like, it was crazy.
It was bad.
The rule is now single file exiting pit lane should that happen again.
Right. So, like that's any safer.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, but that was the interesting thing, right? Why would you not be the first guy if they didn't know that they were going to red flag? I was kind of watching them do their circling, and a few of the guys were kind of sandbagging to see if anyone would go in. I would have thought if you were Rossi, Lorenzo, or Marquez, you'd want to be the very first guy to get in so that you could be the first guy at the front of the line. Imagine if you had been like, well, I'm not sure, I'll just kind of wait, and then they all go in, and then they had started from pit lane, you would have been, I mean, it's totally hypothetical, but yeah, I mean, remember the one at Sachsenring where Marquez was kind of late, and he just pushed his way to the front. He's like, I'm going to the front.
Yeah, that's why they made the rule.
Fifth from pit lane. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
well, no, to your point.
On the flip side, you could have been
being stuck at the lap.
On the flip side, you could have been Stoner that crashes on the warm-up lap at Valencia.
Right.
Oh, God, yeah.
Or Nicky and Stoner who took that gamble that one year, and they both did shitty, and they basically just said we had nothing to lose.
Oh, yeah.
That's my point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Where was that?
That was days ago.
But no, do you remember what track it was at, though? Was it?
These nuts.
Kev dropping knowledge.
Well played. Well played. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, just the rain definitely mixed it up. It made for an awesome race, and I was stoked to see Danilo up there. Like, to have another Ducati on the podium.
We always root for the underdog in general, right? I mean, that's kind of fun. But I don't know. Going back to Kev, your statement about Marquez crashing, I definitely didn't want him to crash. I was okay with him getting second. I didn't care if he won or lost, really. But we wanted him to climb back up and be in contention for Valencia. Let's be real. And now it's completely gone. Now the crazy thing is he's going to go for outright wins every time.
Right. See, that's almost like scarier, right? Like before he still had some semblance of a mathematical chance. So, get your seconds. He could have played spoiler, but now he's got nothing to lose and a lot to prove, right? Like he's got 2 wins? He wants to have more wins or equal wins to like Lorenzo or Rossi, whoever wins the title, right? Like he kind of has a lot of pride on the line now. Like he's not going to repeat as champ, but he's going to show I'm still actually the fastest guy, let's be real. And that's going to be a really interesting wild card into the races now because I think he's taking no prisoners, dude.
And I just put 1 and 2 together. I forget what you were saying earlier, but what if somebody takes Rossi out or takes Lorenzo out? Now Marquez is a complete wild card. He doesn't care if he takes people out.
Right.
He's going to win at all costs. So if he has to bump Rossi, and he bumps Rossi all the time, and Rossi fights back. When he bumps Lorenzo just drops back, and that's that. But he's
right. Lorenzo crumbles
he's going to be banging bars now.
Right. Lorenzo crumbles when Marquez brings it to him, but Rossi doesn't. That'll be interesting if there's a hardcore battle, how Rossi responds as the guy who loves to battle and kind of wants to battle Marquez because it proves his mettle. Right. But now, can you afford to battle the guy who has nothing to lose when you're ready to make history?
That we're looking into the crystal ball right here. I would bet
we're through the looking glass here, people.
That Marquez will definitely disrupt the championship because no fucks will be given.
Has he ever taken anyone out?
Fuck yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about, dude? He took Lorenzo out in his own corner. Lorenzo's named corner. He was like, fuck you.
No, to a retirement. Has he ever retired anyone else? Like, has he ever both?
Well, retirement, I don't think so. Maybe what's his face? He Wilker at, when you hit him hard or whatever.
Oh, you're right. He took out he took out Danny, right, when he cut the brake line or the wheel speed sensor. He
almost killed that corner worker that one year.
He almost killed the corner worker when he crashed behind Cal. He took out Bautista when he cut his brake lines somehow.
Right.
I mean, so that's like what, once a year? Oh man. Yeah, I don't know if I feel that Valle will definitely fight Marquez tooth and nail if Jorge's in front. But
right, because let's be real here. This year, Rossi made fucking Marquez his bitch. Marquez crashes every time he tries to keep up with that old ass dude.
With that old ass dude.
Right. That guy is like damn near Ernie's age, and every time Marquez tries to bring it to him, ba-boom.
I think Ernie's going to take offense to that.
I think Ernie's been mentioned like every podcast, and no one knows what we're talking about.
Well,
like, imagine if you're not a hardcore barf regular, you're like, who is this guy they keep talking about?
Yeah, we'll have to get him on the next one. Maybe
he's legendary.
Hopefully he's listening and he actually like appreciates that we keep mentioning him.
Right, exactly. He's too busy yelling people to get off his lawn.
Oh man. But yeah, no, I mean, no, you're totally right though. Somehow Valle has made Marquez his bitch. I completely agree with that. But if you notice, like even the announcers touched on it, we still haven't seen a three-way battle between Valle, Jorge, and Marquez, and we've only ever seen Valle battle Marquez or Jorge battle Marquez. We've never seen Valle battle Jorge. Like it just hasn't happened yet. Either Jorge pulls way out in front and no one ever sees him, and Valle and Marquez battle behind him, or not at all. But does anyone think that Jorge and Valle are actually going to be able to go fisticuffs like later this year?
I just think that it goes back to what I touched on before. Jorge has refined this style that does not work with battling. It's a style designed, it's like to chase the hare. You get out in front, first corner, hardcore, you enter that first turn at 99% and you're at 100% within 3 turns, and you just literally break the will of the guy. But that's not a style that lends itself to battling, because the style of corner speed that it requires to maintain that pace and tire life so you have edge grip. If they're able to battle, I simply think that means Rossi comes out on top, because it means Lorenzo can't ride the style he's trying to ride.
But I mean, like the what happened in Assen between Valle and Marquez was not that dissimilar to what Jorge and Marquez did at the Czech Republic, right? Like Rossi pulled out and stayed there for what, 3/4 of the race, and then there were 2 passes. Like Marquez tried to come, like he came by once, then Rossi got him back, and then they came together in the final corner. Like it's not like there are very few battles this season where it's back and forth constantly. Like every lap, So
it was only Qatar, and it was only with Dovey and Rossi.
Yeah, exactly. Dovey and Rossi went back and forth, I think, in the last 3 laps repeatedly, and it was freaking amazing. But it's just I feel like you're probably right though. It may not likely happen between Valle and Rossi Jorge and Rossi, because
that'd be great if it was between Rossi and Rossi. I would fucking love that shit. A whole grid full of Rossies? Hell yeah!
It's like racing your shadow in Mario Kart.
Yeah, exactly.
Who do you even root for, Kevin? Who would you root for?
What year Rossi are we talking about?
Oh, we're going different years. Wait, hold on. Let me finish my point, and then we'll come back to that.
Okay.
So it's probably not going to happen because Jorge qualifies on the front row and Valle qualifies in 8th. Right? So.
Ooh.
Yeah, but hold on. When he qualifies in 8th, Rossi wins.
Yeah.
I know.
Half of his wins are from 8th.
But that's because like something else goes wrong for Jorge. or like it
Yeah,
rained.
there's like a fucking, he sees a gnat and he thinks it was laughing at him. And
Yeah.
he's got to go call Kenny Roberts and cry about it.
I believe his name is Jorge.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, only Dennis is allowed to correct our pronunciation here. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dennis, what's the next Dennis round coming up?
We actually lost Dennis like 10
Dennis
minutes.
is Aragon.
Dennis is out.
Dennis's internet connection was not helping out.
Gotta go.
Honorable mention, Dennis. Please, we miss you. Come back.
Exactly. Pedrosa.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, it's just like I want to see that battle so bad, but I'm really not that optimistic about it because it's the circumstances never seem to work out. Like if the only reason why it's Valle and Marquez is because the Jorge mind fucked himself to be in fourth place.
Now he's
and realistically, if it's Valle and Marquez, it's because Marquez is riding beyond the Honda's capabilities. I'll straight up say that Marquez rides that Honda beyond its capabilities.
Yeah,
He's that good. So if he's able to fight with Rossi, he inevitably loses simply because he's already overriding the bike. So he's overriding the bike's capabilities, and so the mistake is going to catch him out. Whereas Rossi is riding the bike right within his comfort limits.
Exactly. That is exactly it right there. If he's not outright winning and he's trying to chase and play catch up, I mean, not like when he's stalking Lorenzo at Indy. That's a completely different scenario. That was some racecraft there.
Right.
I mean,
that was the mature Marquez we've been waiting to see.
Right. At Silverstone, he was struggling to keep up, and when he finally lost it because, to your point, he was overriding the bike to just keep up.
Yeah,
he should have settled in for second.
HRC
and then he did the same thing with the tires. In what race was that where he burned up his tires as Rossi was coming?
Argentina. With your wine.
Right, exactly.
With your wine.
Right, yeah, exactly. This is in 2014 though. I think he won that race.
Yeah, he probably did.
From the Famatina Valley. Where the fuck is that shit?
Motherfucking Rossi.
Everyone knows where my scotch is from. We don't need to talk about that.
Scotchy.
Scotchy.
Down into my belly.
It's actually, it's funny because the second Marquez crashed, HRC pretty much published something to the fact that, we haven't had any rain time to really set up the bike. So all those issues that we've had on corner entry, they still exist in the rain.
And what was interesting too is Suzuki people were kind of hoping Suzuki would do well in the rain, right? Like here's the power equalizer, but they basically have zero wet weather information.
Yeah, but
none.
I feel like it's been raining at all the tests. Like, why is is Suzuki, a new factory, not out there for every single lap to gain this data?
The only thing I can think of is it's not worth the risk for Vinales and Espargaro to crash and fucking break a clavicle or break a wrist or pop a pinky or something. It's just not worth the information.
Pop a pinky?
Yeah. What?
Where are they popping it?
Okay.
This is the drunk episode, right? I can say why you gotta hate. Why you gotta be here?
I actually
Pinky, all right.
Did you see? I think I posted like a photo of Rossi signing a rear tire. So at the riders' auction for health or whatever, they were auctioning off a Bridgestone Slick with all the riders' signatures, and someone saw that Rossi's pinky was all fucked up in the photo. And obviously he popped the pinky last year, so it had to have been an old photo because Rossi.
I love that pop the pinky trending on Twitter.
Yeah, keeping it going for you.
Pinky's out drinking scotch.
Yeah,
exactly.
My pinky's all fucked up from rock climbing. I can't do it.
That's awesome.
Whatever.
Also, I don't know where we're at right now, but I just want to touch on the fact that Brad Pitt said he would give anything to be like Rossi.
And then Rossi's girlfriend,
I'm super drunk right now, and I'm just my inner no homo, but I love Rossi, and
and you're down.
Brad motherfucking Pitt was like, I would do anything to be like that, bro.
So wait, would you? No, I can't ask that.
Ask away. Nothing's inappropriate. Dennis is gone anyway.
How do you wait? So would you molest Rossi's hand if Brad Pitt kissed it, or would you molest Brad Pitt's hand if Rossi kissed it?
I don't give a fuck about Brad Pitt. I mean, he's a pretty man. Don't get me wrong. If it was a long night or a long winter, things go the way they go. But let's be real. The hand that the doctor touched is different than the hand that the fucking dude who married the chick from Friends' hand.
All right, let's move on to Mazzano. I know you want to talk about this one, Kevin.
I hope he wins so bad. So bad. Because what'll happen, right, Everett, right? Remember last year, dude, the fucking Italians went nuts, and we talked about how, he's just the only guy that fans do that for. Can you imagine if he wins there and extends the points lead? It's going to be fucking insane.
Yes.
I got a more difficult question for you. Is he going to qualify in the front row again?
No.
Yes.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
He's going to qualify third. I'm calling it right now.
Well, let's start with the questioning. And I don't know, Kev, I know you know all this shit. Is Mazzano a Yamaha track? Start there.
He won it last year.
Yes, it is.
He won it last year on the Yamaha.
Right.
And Jorge got second.
Was it raining? Was it raining?
No, dude, shit was dry. And not only did he win, it was a commanding. He won last year with a commanding victory. That was last year's victory was a straight, solid, no asterisks, no nothing, just outright won that race.
My second question, my first question was going to be, is it Yamaha?
This is a lot of questions for the drunk
episode. How did Rossi finish last year?
Okay, wait, hold on.
Two things right there will dictate tomorrow.
Hold on. A Honda hasn't won since 2010. Jorge has won all of them except for Rossi winning last year.
Where did Marquez finish last year?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, he didn't get first or second.
Last year?
Was that the one where he finally screwed up?
Yeah, no, that's one where he finally screwed up. He got 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he crashed chasing Rossi.
Right.
Yep.
And then he remounted to win, or to get points.
Yes.
So to that point, let's play this out, right? So Marquez is likely going to win. Rossi will do well. Lorenzo may fix his setup and figure it out. There's your top three. Now kind of figure out the combination of it. That's my way of analyzing it all. But, Marquez,
well, let's keep it. Remember, he qualified fourth at Silverstone. Again, this is the trend of his season. Rossi is he has equal or done better than last year at every single race. He has not done worse than last year at a single race.
I think
his bad tracks from last year, he's done exceedingly well at, including winning at races last year that he was off the podium. He's on a serious run, and we're entering his strongest part of the season last year where he won 2 races and got 2 seconds. This is entering his part of the season where he does well historically.
I feel like Kev is going to continue to say this because he expects Rossi to win out after Aragon.
If he fucking won out, oh my god.
just all of the races after Aragon, because he's got to improve over his.
He won't. He just won't.
No, I'd be kind of bummed actually because I really want Ducati to win. I want them to win really bad.
They should win in Motegi. That's what they should do.
Right. I hope it's Petrucci.
Just take it to the Japanese manufacturers and just be like, that's right, Motegi.
Right. And by the way, give Petrucci a fucking GP15 already. For reals, dude. Give him one of those bikes.
No, they're not. They're giving him a 14.2 at Mazzano. Or maybe a 14.3. Either way, he'll be on the same equipment as Yanni.
Right.
Which is crappy. But
wait, time out. I don't keep up with all this anymore. You're telling me that Petrucci's on the worst one out of the 4 of them?
Yes.
He has the
Yanni's
same bike.
getting fired, and Petrucci's keeping his ride.
Yes.
So why would they just swap with Yanni at least?
Well, I mean, because Yanni's been guaranteed the 14 point whatever that he's had all season. It's in his.
This goes back to those politics, bro, because he's South American.
Why?
They have a South American round.
Well, he's gone next year, I've heard. He's going to Aventina, right?
Yeah, I mean,
right, which means he's still there.
Downgrade the guy. You don't downgrade the guy.
That's my point, though. Why do you? Yeah, you downgrade him.
No, then he'd have to.
He's not coming back, and your other guy's coming back. You downgrade him. That's how life works. Man.
No, but it's more effort, right?
Right. Drop that hero. Drop that 0. Get with this hero.
That's right. I just don't. It doesn't. I get contractually if it's in there and says, look, you get the spec bike for the entire year. done. Okay, I kind of get that.
Well, so that's how all the Ducati contracts work. Is if you do good, you get upgrades, right? So like Scott
That's
Redding
my point,
is actually
though.
fighting for a GP15 with like upgrades for something further, more
Okay.
GP.
Petrucci.
Upgrade with 2 Ds for a double dose of that fucking Daniello pimping.
Wait, what is the best finish another Ducati has had? A second or a third only?
You mean a non-factory Ducati?
Has Dovi or Iannone finished second?
Yes.
Yeah, Dovi. What are you talking about? Dude, Dovi had 3 seconds. He had 3 second place finishes in a row, son.
Qatar was Rossi, Ducati.
So my point is, Petrucci has matched the factory rider's best effort, and yet he's still relegated to the worst machinery they have available.
Preach it, brother.
Yeah, he's on the same chassis and engine as the Avintia bikes, with just better electronics.
That's my point. And that's my point, is the guy's got more points than Yanni. He's got more points than Barbara.
That's some bullshit.
Well, but it's
How
actually
many points does he have compared to Iannone?
Petrucci lives matter.
He is Petrucci lives matter. That's
a t-shirt for sure. Oh God, we gotta make that and go to a GP. Oh my God.
He's pretty close to half the points of Iannone.
Half. Oh, talking practice.
He has 80. He has 83, and Iannone has 150. Dovi has 120, and Yanni. Where'd Yanni go? Yanni's got 41, so he was actually spanking Yanni before this race.
Well, pause there then.
Wait,
I thought Iannone would absolutely have been still. I know Dovi's had all these DNFs and all this shit, but Iannone's kind of fallen off the face of the planet.
What
the hell?
Iannone?
What are you talking about? He's other than last race, he had 6 straight top 5s.
Oh, fucking
more than that.
No one cares about top 5s, man. You're not on the box. You're not on the box.
All right.
7 straight top 5s.
Speaking of on the box, dude, Ducati's got 8 podiums this year, dude. That's a podium for 3 out of 4 races.
That's why they're beating Repsol in the classification, the team and.
What were Iannone's last 3 finishes?
5,
8.
4, and 8.
Yep.
Say it slower.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is the drunk episode.
Yeah, 5, 4, and 8 in reverse order.
And what was he doing earlier in the year, right? He was challenging for podiums and up there.
He hasn't podiumed since Mugello.
He's doing exactly the same thing. Like, his average finish is probably like
a 4th.
Probably like between 3rd and 4th.
I guess my point is he had this amazing momentum, and it seems to have like kind of run out. And I don't know if it's his injury. I don't know if it's just he's not trying. I don't know if it's the bike he's finally finding the limits on.
No, you know what it is. No, it's the fact that the Honda and the Yamaha have actually pushed forward, right? Marquez's DNFing. Well, I can't say he's DNFing less, but
that's Marquez.
But he's doing.
But yeah, Marquez's kind of Franken bike has enabled him to take the step forward he needed. If you look at, he's got a string of wins and podiums.
Yeah.
So that happened too. Pedrosa coming back also puts a monkey wrench in that ability. You know, he was having arm point issues, then he was gone for a while.
Since Pedrosa came back, he's beaten Iannone like 3 times, it looks like, including one podium that Iannone would have gotten if Pedrosa had sucked. So it's just, that's what we've been seeing from Ducati this in the second half of the season, or even the middle third, is that they were good in the beginning because they found something with the GP15, but since then they haven't pushed forward as far as Yamaha and Honda have.
Yeah, because if you look at the first 6 races, they had 5 podiums.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Right, actually, they had more than that. They had 6 podiums and 6, but there was a Ducati on the box in the first 3 races, and then 2 races after the 4th. So
yeah,
in the first 7 races, there was 6 Ducati podiums.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think that Iannone's performance has decreased. He definitely had a bad round in the rain at Silverstone because he got his worst finish of the year in 8th. You know, his worst finish before that was 6th at Jerez, and everything.
But what he
else was
hasn't
top
done is
5.
crashed.
He has not crashed, knock on wood.
Yeah, but he's just cruising around. That's my point.
He's just
Anyway.
He's cruising around while Daniela's dropping the hammer, man. Punk card right in your face,
right.
bitch.
Exactly. It's exactly it. Like, where the fuck are you? You should
Right.
be at the front, not that guy.
apparently.
Well, no, dude, Daniela should be the front. I said that shit.
Yeah, I mean, so he will get. I actually finally read a little while ago that Pramac is getting GP15s next year. So apparently Ducati doesn't really care that Michelins are coming into the championship because
Well, it sounds like we talked about before. That doesn't seem to really matter. The software set. I mean, because they're testing the tires on the current bikes.
Yeah, but
And speaking of Pramac in next year,
Yeah.
drop fucking bombshell with shitty Hondas, and all of a sudden Pramacs are good. Is Scott motherfucking Redding?
I think this is another like Cal Crutchlow decision.
Yes.
I think
Is Redding the most poorly timed GP rider of like this generation? For
Yes.
real. He gets the
Yes.
shitty ass open Honda, which turns out to suck. Then he gets the factory Honda with the new team, and happens to be not a good year for Honda.
Yeah, the
Now
worst
he's
that
going to go
I-
ride a year-old bike on Michelin's for the Ducati junior team. I mean, like, and those Michelin's. Knowing his luck, the Michelin's won't gel with Ducatis, and it'll be like another shitty year.
Yeah, I mean,
You never know.
we don't know yet because
No, I know because I have a time machine.
I mean, I think when they tested Michelin's last, Jorge tucked the front, Dovi tucked the front. Did any of the Hondas tuck the front and crash? I can't remember.
When?
The last time they tested was that.
Yeah, there was a lot of front end crashes last time they tested. It sounds like the riding styles will be different. Instead of being front end oriented like the Bridgestones, it's going to be the rear has pretty amazing grip, but the front has limited grip.
Yeah, so yeah, it literally is going exactly the opposite. The Bridgestones, we know the front tire is ungodly. Like for the Michelins, it's the exact opposite. It's the rear tire is the best thing they've ever ridden on, and the front tire is just like meh. So it's gonna
So that's a good.
it's gonna flip the bikes
That's a good question.
a lot.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you think? I mean, because Bridgestone's obviously leaving. They're producing their best tire that they can make to set all the lap records.
They're not though.
Now.
They're not. Dorna has explicitly asked Michelin to not produce the best tire they possibly can.
No, they want a tire that fades in a predictable manner. So the chess game of how you decide to ride. Dorna has explicitly stated they want a tire that drops off. That just drops off predictably.
Like Spies had said he wanted for ages, right? He's like,
Exactly.
I want a tire where as it drops off, now it's on the rider and it's all about tire management. And
Yeah, because
There won't no more like setting the fastest lap on your 16th lap.
Yeah, Spies wanted the Pirellis in GP because they kind of fall off predictably. Like they don't get anywhere close to qualifying and they set their fastest laps in like the first 5, like in World Superbike. So he wanted those in GP. And Michelin has kind of they haven't exactly said that they were going to do that, but they've kind of hinted at it. But at the same time, I feel like they're being like not. I think they're kind of being trapped into not doing that because the riders are testing the tires and they're giving them feedback that's like, hey, this tire is not as good as the Bridgestones. So I seriously wonder. I mean, they're probably not putting in race distances, but I wonder if Michelin is going to fail at Dorna's request just because of the competition with the previous tire manufacturer in this year change.
Right, it's gonna be. That's something. How do you even regulate that? Like, we want you to make not the best tires you can make, but then Michelin's like, we don't want to look like we're worse than Bridgestone, so we actually have to make the best tire we can make.
Yeah,
it's pretty contradictory, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the
more political controversy. Everett, how do you feel about this?
I hate it. I hate that shit.
The thing that's definitely going for Michelin though is if they can make an amazing tire that does fall off, it's still likely that they'll set lap records. So they'll still, on paper, they could still look good. Because more people look at the lap records in, race lap records than look at the race times. So if the race time falls off by 10 seconds, like not many people will notice, especially if Michelin has the lap record for every single track. And we even
until they go to Laguna and the Superbike series, what the hell is it called anymore? Even the Moto America is running the same lap times. That's gonna be a major problem.
Yeah. Speaking of Moto America, and this might be off topic. Well, I don't care because I'm drunk. But fucking Rob got $500 for Moto America.
That I did.
What?
Yeah, dude.
For real, bro?
I got a check in the mail. It was freaking awesome. It made my
what?
It made for finishing 19th.
Nice.
$500 for finishing 19th. That pays better than World Superbike.
Yeah. apparently,
more than I ever got paid, man.
Apparently, 11th through 20th gets $500. Is what I found out.
Well, you got to keep in mind they got to start somewhere, and that's part of it is some payback and distribution sharing. This brings up another topic that's completely random, deserves its own special podcast, but I keep wanting to know how the financials work.
We got to get Berto on. Where's Berto?
For GP?
No, not for AFM. God, please keep that out of this conversation. That needs to never make podcast again. Never speak of this. But no, MotoGP, apparently they're paying the top 20 teams, get a breakdown and a revenue share of the TV rights and the TV package. So a guy like Carroll and his team who haven't even finished have 0 points or at the end. Those are the two teams that are at risk, right? Because they're not going to get the money.
Right, they're not getting the travel and tire subsidies, the final two teams.
Yeah,
correct.
That's right. So if you want to pay 100% out of pocket, great, go for it if you're cool with running around last. But that's the whole incentive to do well. And so, but I really would love for someone to disclose what the hell that looks like, because in Supercross or any of the other really well-ran series, I mean, there's an incentive to be a satellite team and still get up there and run around in third or fourth. And even some of the factory teams are kind of outsourced, like in NASCAR, where they finally said, hey, Joe Gibbs Racing is going to run their own thing, and it's like a $300 million company with 10 cars in the field and making cars for other people. That's a company in and of itself now, but they're not a factory, right? They're not making, they're not Repsol Honda.
Yeah, so what Dorna's doing is they're bridging the gap kind of between what they were doing before, where before everyone got the same subsidy for tires and entry fees and transportation. And they did that if you were on the grid pretty much no matter what, and then they would give the factories an exorbitant amount of money, like, $60 million went to, or 60 million euros went to HRC, and then Yamaha got like 50 and Ducati got like 40 or something. So they're actually, for 2017, they're going to reduce the subsidies to the factories, and they're going to give more money to the lower teams. But at the same time, they're not doing what F1 does, right? F1 pays out for the Constructors' Championship on a tiered, payment, so that, first place in Constructors gets X amount, second place gets considerably less, and it goes all the way down to the last team that gets, a paltry 500,000 euros or something, because F1.
But so that's kind of contradictory too. You'd think that the best team would get the least amount of money, and the worst team would get the most.
What are you, a
socialist?
Socialist?
They can become better.
Why do you hate America?
No, but so you
want parity. You don't want one guy like Lorenzo making it boring as fuck, guys.
This is the real reason you hang out with that guy named Carl. You fucking Marcus.
Well, so
why you hate freedom?
You would rather have it the way that Dorna is planning on doing it, right? Because it'll be more even spread in 2017 when Dorna adjusts this. But honestly, I see no problem with the way that F1 is doing it, because it gives the incentive to do better,
to win.
Now I know this is the drunk episode, because we're talking about fucking F1. Who
we have to bring it up.
Cares?
Oh, Latin Dane is gonna love.
Well, we're talking about financials.
Yeah,
they're the 800 pounds.
Well, hold on. Let me replace that conversation with we're talking about financials.
Ooh,
when was the last time that ever led to an interesting conversation?
All right, that's it. Okay,
the politics. I follow the money. You got to talk about it every now and then.
Okay, so the interesting part though is that anyone that's in GP right now has this amazing, like they've got Park Place in their hand and they're trying to sell it off to all the other players because Carl's team, right? Like he's probably going to bounce because he doesn't have a guaranteed bike from HRC. So he needs to, his team will sell that spot for probably, on the order of like €1 million or something. Maybe, maybe half that or whatever, just so that someone else can come into GP. So it's kind of interesting. Like Cito Pons wants back in the grid, but he can't. It would actually be more lucrative for him. It would be a much better decision for him to adopt the team that's already in GP, at least one that doesn't finish last. So
right, and for you listeners that are still awake after all this financial talk, this is the reason why Grassini became the de facto Aprilia team, was because entering as a new team is significantly more expensive than an existing team that's finished within the point scale to get the subsidies, tire allocation, and travel costs. So Aprilia took over as the Grassini factory. The Grassini took over Aprilia's factory status. And this is why Carl's team, despite the fact that they might not be there next year, is still worth money.
Yeah, even though Carl has 0 points, and he may actually be worth nothing at this point. He's fighting for last place with Alex DeAngelis.
Right.
So he needs to score more than 2 points at this point.
Which is just like the dude from San Marino, and then like the rich dude from San Marino, where they don't want any of the poor Italians, and then the rich dude from the Czech Republic. I mean, for real.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alex DeAngelis, like, he is by far on the worst bike on the grid, and he does have more points than Carl. So.
No, totally. I can't figure it out, man. I think, we all know the stuff's mostly between the ears, so something's going on there, but. I mean,
I think Carl. I mean, I don't know Carl personally, but like I know he's got a really hot girlfriend. But thanks to Everett for confirming that. But it's just like it's like he was always looking to switch to finally feel like he got a good bike, right? Like just the confidence of I'm finally on a good bike. He switches to the Open Honda and it just sucks. That's gotta just suck the wind out of his sails so bad. Like this bike sucks. I'm not getting upgrades. It's not at all what I had. Like you gotta start to think like, why did I leave Aprilia? Why did I leave Ducati? Like, god damn it, I got tricked by Honda again. Honda's tricky, man. Those tricky Japs.
Well, I've probably said this before. Is these guys are all freaking winners, right? Their whole lives they've just dominated whatever thing they did, and when they finally got into motorcycle racing, they didn't get to GP because they just were shitheads. They all are freaking insanely talented and winners, and to take them, and there's got to be some kind of a caste system or some kind of an order, right?
Yeah, I mean, someone has to lose.
Relegated to running around in 20th place just fucking sucks. The kid's used to winning in everything his whole life. Every person on that grid has felt that way. And then it's like, I remember when he got, I think it was 5th place or something like that, or he was in 5th place at Valencia, and then Crutchlow took him out, and then he still finished 7th or something. And it was like, he almost took that shit Ducati and beat a guy that you're not supposed to beat, and almost won Rookie of the Year. And then he's just progressed backwards. And to that point, it's all politics. So you even look at like a Scott Redding. You look at any of these guys. Honestly, this is the hard part. I get it from a marketing perspective and from the way that the circus is ran. This is a traveling roadshow. It's all about the names, and that's why Nicky Hayden's even still there. Is these are recognizable people. You can't just clean house of all the name brands that you've built up. Lorenzo, even the Espargaro brothers. Even Smith is now a name, right? And so these are brand household names in the sport. If we cleaned, if literally all the factory riders quit tomorrow and said, hey, we're done, like Stoner did, and when they brought up all these Moto2 riders, most people wouldn't know who they are on the grid. And so that's the fundamental problem, is they can't just get rid of everybody. But at the same time, the reality is I'm tired of seeing, honestly, Lorenzo and Rossi. I would love to see Zarco and Tito Rabat battle it out, or a Redding battle it out, or even a Miller. I don't care. Get me some young, fresh talent and, like, really change things. And the problem is those guys just they have such strong staying power because of the brand that they hold and the value that Dorna gives them. It's just.
Well, you're gonna get your wish because with Redding leaving to fucking Pramac, Tito's coming up and he's gonna be on a solid team. Hopefully, the Honda's better next year than last. There's some talk about Zarco moving up, but I don't know where he's gonna go. But we may see.
We have no support that Mark VDS is a solid team in GP yet. So far,
I'm actually okay.
Showing their shit. So
how could Zarco has to go to Tech 3?
No, he's
right. Like it almost like
No, he's staying in Moto 2. It has already said that he's staying in Moto 2.
I know he is, but I'm just saying he needs to wait a year and then go to Tech 3 the year after.
Oh,
that is the move. He's a French guy, a French team. It just makes sense, and it's a good
right.
time.
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought of that, but they never should have signed Smith. They should have signed Zarco to a 3-year contract like they did the other ones. He's going to be the reigning Moto2 champion. He's going to be a Frenchman on a good team, on a French team. Give him a year leeway because of the Michelins, and then get going. 2 Moto2 champions on the same team. Now I'm pissed. I'm fucking mad. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to her.
Yeah.
How's your friend? Yeah. No, he's too old.
I'm going to +1 that shit. I'm going to like it.
He's too old.
I'm going to use a black thumbs up.
Awesome.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's an interesting point, Everett, for you to bring up that they're, like, as far as branding, there are very few not champions on the grid. And they've all kind of built a brand. But you got to remember, too, that the reason why Jorge, Valle, and Danny are still there is because not only do they have the branding of being, like, arguably the 3 or 4 most popular riders in the world, they also are in the top 4 of the most talented
deservedly
riders.
I can't argue that, but this is what I do challenge a little, and Kev already knows it, is Miller's a bad example. I think it's too much too soon. But tell me that there's nobody else on the grid that couldn't maybe slot in where Danny's at on that Repsol Honda and produce roughly the same results.
And you know what? Danny's results ain't all that great. And this goes to what I've been saying on the podcast for this whole year. Slow, steady decline. That dude ain't even sniffing a win this year, dude. Like, he's got 2 podiums. It's 12 races in. Like, I actually think, as much as I say they won't get rid of Danny till Danny decides, because again, his brand is too strong. But they got to get rid of Danny.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the real crazy thing. Have you guys ever stopped and thought about, this isn't necessarily financials, but it's in the same world. This is what's so impressive about Rossi, and you look at a guy like Danny, who's several tiers further down. Danny Pedrosa probably has $30 to $40 million or more in the bank, and he's still just kind of cruising around. He's kind of putting himself at risk. You look at Rossi. Rossi's got hundreds of millions of dollars easily.
That nigga straight rich.
No, he got sued for tax evasion, didn't he? So it's probably half that.
Yeah, but he throws it the fuck down, is all I'm saying. You look at some of these other guys, and you can tell that they are now not throwing it down. Danny's getting kind of old, and he's got a lot of money.
And a lot of fucking injuries, dude. That dude's been hurt a lot.
How come we never saw the Danny Pedrosa Cribs episode? That's what I want to know.
I know.
Exactly, because they don't fucking in Middle Earth. They don't show you the Hobbit cribs.
The midget house, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, like their brand. Like I don't exactly agree that someone else on the Repsol would beat Danny day in and day out. Like,
okay, hold on. So here's the next one. You're telling me had they not got Maverick Vinales instead, that Maverick wouldn't be winning on that bike?
Yes, I agree that Maverick would not be winning on the Danny Pedrosa Repsol.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maverick, I said this before, Maverick's a generational talent. I do think that. He's on the Suzuki, so I don't know. I can't really prove it, but I think Maverick is the kind of talent that if you slotted him on the Repsol team, he would have a win by the end of this year. I don't think any other rider would. Personally, I don't think if you put Cal on there, I don't think you put Tito.
You don't think LH would do it?
No, I think Maverick is better than Aleix, without question.
He doesn't have the experience.
He has more points. He's beating Aleix. He's ahead of Aleix.
But he hasn't had as cool of a result. Let's be real.
Aleix, dude. I mean, Aleix is cool and all. Maverick has a better Maverick is ahead of him in points and has the best finishing position of a Suzuki this year.
Yep. They're pretty even. Like their experience versus like not beginner's luck, but essentially just like talented rookie results. I'd say their talent level is pretty even right now. I'm slightly undecided on who's actually a better rider. But
okay, so let's just say they're on par. My point is, Aleix or Maverick on the Repsol Honda in Danny's seat would yield, in my opinion, probably better results.
Aleix, I don't think, because I think Aleix crumbles when the pressure gets to him, like he's expected to win or podium. But I think Maverick. I think you put Maverick on the Repsol Honda with a Repsol team under that guys, and he's probably going to have podiums and threatening for a win or two this season.
And you mean better results than Danny now, right?
Yes, I think that. Yeah, Danny's got a second and a third. That's it.
My point is, Danny's too long in the tooth. It's time for him to go. And I think they even did they renew him for next year?
Yeah.
Well, he signed a 2-year contract last year, so he's there for this year and last year.
Yeah, he's in.
That's my point. Is he should not be there next year, no matter what. Like, I'm sorry, dude. If you want to go ride around on some other thing, stay in the series and use your name and your brand, fine. But you do not need to keep taking that seat. Sorry.
But I mean, if it wasn't for his injury, he would not be. He would like.
Yeah, but if I had wheels, I'd be a wagon.
Yeah.
But it is about his injuries. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. You know, and I love Dane. Don't get me wrong, but he's injured enough that it's fine, and he's old enough now that stuff is adding up. He is injured enough and has enough injuries over the course of his career that it's now affecting his finishing positions. I mean, he got surgery, and even after he got his surgery, took 3 races off, came back, he's got a second and a third. He doesn't have any better finishing position than Andrea Iannone.
Yeah, but he's going to surpass Bradley in points, and he'll probably catch one of the Ducatis by the end of the year. Like, he's going to finish in 5th.
Until he crashes again.
I'm not exactly positive he's going to finish ahead of Bradley, dude. Bradley's consistency is ridiculous. He may not be the fastest guy, and he may not be a podium fighter, but he's going to finish in the top 6 basically every race.
Bradley?
Danny's,
Yep.
Yeah, Danny's one fall away from like a shattered hip, dude.
You're right. If Danny crashes, then that'll be it. But I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly confident that he's going to crash. And by the way, Bradley,
dude, if Danny slips on his pit bike back to his motorhome, he's going to fucking break his clavicle.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, wait, who rode the pit bike back like for the?
That was Paul.
Oh,
he's like, nigga, get off of this shit.
You don't know how to ride a motorcycle. I'm riding this back here, even though I was the one that just crashed.
Right. I'm a Moto2 champion.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, we got.
All right, so I'm gonna I'm gonna say it live so that we can go. That I have to leave soon because I'm wasted and I have to sleep. Let's go with predictions and stuff for the next race, and let's call our shot.
Let's do qualifying predictions, and then for the front row, and then race predictions.
Rossi third.
Disagree.
He's qualifying third.
Disagree.
He's getting third. Front row.
Danny third. For qualifying.
Pick your qualifying pick, Everett.
First, second, third? I'll go Marquez, Lorenzo, Pedrosa.
Oh, dang. Way to go out on a limb.
Qualifying.
All right.
Qualifying.
Okay. We're going to quantify this. Let's qualify this statement that it's qualifying.
It's qualifying. Second place, Kev?
I don't give a fuck. I'm only talking about Rossi at Misano. It's the fucking Marco Simoncelli track, and Rossi's going to win that shit.
So Rossi's going to qualify third, and he's going to win the race.
He's going to win.
I'm going to go Rossi's going to get second to Marquez in the race. And, well, I think Jorge will get third. And I'm going to put Rossi at qualifying in 5th.
All right.
That's my prediction.
God, this is tough. Marquez, Lorenzo, Pedrosa, Rossi.
You picked Rossi off the podium every race.
No, I think
every race. For you listeners out there who don't go on barf.
No, I think it'll be Marquez, Rossi, Lorenzo, and then who cares?
And God damn it, the one race he fucking picks him off the podium, he's probably going to be, or on the podium, he's going to be off of it.
Yeah, you gotta change that whatever. You'll fucking say a different story on barf later when they actually start.
No different story. I'm calling it. Marquez, Rossi, Lorenzo.
That's what I said. You just fucking copy me. Whatever. All right.
I did copy the shit out of you. You are a genius.
All right, everyone. This has been a very long BrotoGP podcast, but we've had a lot to talk about, and it was the first, maybe second official drunk episode. We just didn't tell you about the last one.
Yeah, and also we didn't make this a drunk episode till we already started. So we're going to have an actual drunk episode where we're fucking tossed.
The new rule is when Rossi wins, it's a drunken podcast.
Right.
That's the rule. So, hopefully that'll get us listeners because they'll see Rossi win at Misano, and then Kev will be drunk for a week.
Oh, and by the way, on the Rossi winning Misano thing, I just want to throw out, I did not know this, but apparently if Rossi wins, the priests in Tavula ring the church bells.
That's pretty awesome.
Kev, what's our side bet?
that Rossi's Jesus.
Well, you already know that.
Yeah,
but
we already had a whole podcast about it.
Alicia Spargaro, top 5 in Misano. That's the side bet.
Nah, my side bet is that Maverick beats Alicia.
Oh. So Maverick top 5 in Misano?
Side bet Maverick best finish for a Suzuki this season.
Which would be a top 5. Okay.
Right.
There you go. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We will not.
Fuck all you fans.
We will not take an amazingly long break between the next episode, and hopefully you'll definitely hear this before Misano, which will be awesome.
Right. If Rossi wins, you'll be talking about an amazingly long something else.
Yeah, exactly.